Hello, guys, and welcome back. You are watching the Camera 64 podcast. I am your host, Alfonso Chavez, and as always, I'm coming to you from not so sunny San Antonio. Today, it's actually raining right outside my garage, but we are here in the garage still, guys. And in this video, I want to take you through a little shopping session through eBay and give you some pointers and tips. In the earlier video, I talked about why you would want to spend the least amount of money on a body and why that's a good financial reason or makes for a good business decision to spend the least amount on a body as possible. So I'm going to show you a couple of options. I'm going to give you a couple of tips as far as what to look for. And eBay is a fantastic place to look. I genuinely like eBay because there are a lot of people on there selling and there are a lot of people on there buying, so it makes for a good turnaround. Now, I do want you to be aware of some tips, and I will make sure to point those out. There are a lot of not so good people on eBay too as well. Not a lot, but there are people that you need to pay attention to. People who are out there trying to scam and just do some things they shouldn't be doing on eBay. So you need to keep an eye out for that. And it's definitely something that you want to keep in mind when you're doing your shopping, aside from looking for a good camera. So let's jump right in here. And I'm going to set up some of the criteria. And I talked about it last time. I am a Canon shooter. I have always been a Canon shooter. And so I will always recommend cameras from Canon for a lot of reasons, and I talked about it in the video a little bit earlier, but Canon is the #1 selling camera brand in the entire world. So you have a huge option when it comes to use gear as well as lenses for your camera. So I'm just going to start off right away by just simply putting Canon camera. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm not going to list any of the brands, but what I am going to have is we do want it to be a digital SLR because we don't want to shoot film, guys. Film is fun, but it's not good for business. Or, I mean, unless you're going to go down that niche, but I would not do it. Let's put it that way. So I'm not going to recommend something that I personally would not recommend doing. And then also we're going to go down into pricing here, so we can set the minimum price, which we can go ahead and put as $1, and let's just keep it at $125. Now you're going to be surprised at some of the cameras that come up here. Like I said, some of them are going to be crop sensors, some of them are going to be full frame, but like I mentioned in the video, none of that really matters, guys, because there's other ways to make your camera look good. But right now we're just going to concentrate on a body. So here's the first camera I ever owned. It just so happens to be the first one, the Canon XS here, $54, but it looks kind of rough. Let's just look at it for funsies. Yeah, it's rough. You can see this poor camera has been through hell and high water. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No way, no. That is no way, no. But let's scroll down here. The 20D is another good camera that is actually pretty nice camera to own. I've owned this in the past, the Canon 20D. Let's see what it looks like. And this actually doesn't look too well. It's a little bit rougher than what I would like. There's a lot going on here. Yeah, that's a definitely a no-no. We're gonna keep going on here. We have an XTI, $31. That's kind of high. Here's a T2i, starting at $30. See, now I built my entire business on the T2i, guys. That's crazy. It's hard to imagine, but me and my son, he had one and I had one, and that's what we used. And we shot lots of sports with it. So here's one. The 60D is kind of one of them weird cameras. It fell right in the middle. It was a bridge camera from the middle level, because there used to be a middle tier. So you had all your Rebel lines, and then you had your middle tier, and then you had your full out professional bodies. And so the 60D, the 50D, the 40D, that entire line was actually a really good line of cameras because it fell right in the middle. It was a crop sensor body, but it was a professional crop sensor body. But when the 60D came out, they went to an all plastic body. So the 50D was the last camera to have magnesium alloy for a crop sensor camera, which is kind of why I stayed away from it. I skipped over it. Can y'all hear the lightning outside? But that would make a good starter camera for somebody. I mean, this is a 60D. It's an 18 megapixels. It comes with a 20 mil 2.8, which would make this, with the crop factor, 2 times 6 would be 12. It would make that basically a 35 millimeter 2.8 lens. So this would be a really nice setup for somebody at $85 with a 1580. So you'd be under $100 is what you'd be looking at, and I'd be willing to bet that this is going to be in really good shape. And it is very good shape. Some of the points I like to look at are right at the actual shutter release, the dial right here, and also the bottom. You can't see it in this picture, but the mounting point for the tripod, that also is a good point indicator to let you know wear on the buttons too. If you have a lot of wear on the buttons, that means that camera's been well used. But as you can see, this actually doesn't look too bad. This lens does have some damage up here, so which means it's been dropped. I'm almost positive. Usually when there's damage to the outside like that, it's been dropped at some point or another. So we're gonna keep going here. So here's a simple shoot, point and shoot. We don't want any of that. I did put that in there. I didn't want that, but for some reason it's still coming up. Here's an XT1 for 50 bucks. I would skip that one. So we're looking for bodies that are kind of fall in the middle. So like right here, here's a 7D. Oh, but see, okay, this one says parts only. So that's another thing you need to watch out for. There's gonna be cameras listed that say parts only. Now this is a 7D, so this at $100, this would be an amazing camera if it was in any kind of working order, but it's not. Here's an original 5D for $120. That is a great camera. Let's see how this one looks like, just out of curiosity. It's a little on the rough side. Yeah, you can see how worn out that button is. It has no texture on it anymore. It's missing some port covers. It was never mounted onto anything, and it comes with the grip. But yeah, I'm not, for me to take something like that, I'm definitely looking for a 5D that's got maybe a low shutter count, or visually you can tell if the body's in good shape or not. So here's a 7D for $99. It's on bid 6 days. And here is a 20D. See what this looks like. See, now this looks really nice. Look at that. There's no wear on the top. There's no wear onto the side here. Hardly any wear right there. This would be a good deal for somebody right here. Look at that. Great shape. I mean, this is in great shape. The top. And one feature that I really like about these 20D right here is I really liked these raised, they had the raised buttons before, which if you're shooting at night, once you have a good feel for your camera and you know where all the buttons and the dials are supposed to be at, these raised buttons right here make the feel of the camera so much better, guys. I mean, so much better. And you can tell by the bottom, it's never been mounted onto a tripod either. Now this would be an amazing deal. It's in Milford, Connecticut. Oh wow, that's where Tony Northrop lives. Milford Photo. Wow, that's the same camera shop where they go to. What are the odds? But anyway, this is a great deal right here, I think. For hell, if you can get this camera for $12.50, that would be very nice. Let's get into some more detail on this thing here. It says EOS 20D camera, body, battery only, no other accessories, powers up, all functions properly, nice beginner. Shutter count is, they can't get a shutter count for it. So on these older cameras, it is a little bit harder. You have to take a picture. There's software that you can get that will look at the picture. This is actually pretty nice. I like this for myself, to my little collection. I used to shoot weddings with this camera right here. And this is what I mean right here. Look at that. Hell, I just want to put a bid just for the hell of it. Let's place a bid on that. I'm going to say 25 bucks. Just for grins. Yes, I'm the high bidder. Awesome. It's got less than 25 hours to go. So, man, I just might win that camera. $10 to get it shipped to me, and if I get it for 25 bucks, that's a $35 camera. And again, this is just freaking amazing, guys. I like this. I would have no problem reselling this either, so that's another cool thing too. And the 40D has a really good place in my heart. I like the 40D because I own one. This is the first camera, mid-level camera that I ever bought. So it's got a shutter count of 22,000, which on this camera is nothing. I mean, literally nothing. It's got a little couple of spots here and there, but there's not a lot of wear on the shutter button itself. It's a little dusty in there, might have to be cleaned up. But no damage. That's the key right there. No major damage. The 20D actually looked better than this one does. And again, this one doesn't have any damage at the bottom. Dial looks good. There's a couple of scuffs here and there. That's not bad. For 99 bucks, it's not bad. T2i 124, I think that's a little overpriced. T100 89, yeah, I would pass on that too. Now here's the T2i that's got the original 18-55 for $29.99. That's not a bad deal. It's only got one bid, and it goes to charity. What more can you want, right? T1i 15 megapixels, 100 bucks, a little overpriced, in my opinion, right? Everything's in my opinion. Now here's the camera this is something I would get. I talked about this big camera, right? Big camera. You know how to use a big camera. If you don't, you're still gonna look like you actually know what you're doing, right? This is actually a really good copy of it too. Look at that. No major scratches and dings in it. It actually looks pretty damn good. Look at that. The back side of it. I own this exact camera. And this copy actually looks better than my copy. I should sell mine and get this one. Look at that. The screen is all nice and clean, clear. Top. So these buttons, I always like to check these. See how these got the old styles, got these raised buttons. It makes a huge difference, guys. I know it might seem like a small deal, but on the newer cameras, the buttons are flat, and it just doesn't have the same feel to it. A little bit of haze on the screen, but it's not too bad. And for it's rated for a +9, but $95, guys. You can't go wrong with this. Gosh, my gosh. $95. If this sells for $150, it would be an awesome camera for somebody to own. Let's just look at a couple more, and then we're going to call this a video, guys. Let's see. There's another 20D. That one's 49. There is the 35 millimeter camera. Here's a 30D 8.2 megapixels, $50. $50 is not that bad for a camera. Here's a 5D Mark II for $100. Can't go wrong with that either. So let's look at this camera. Let's look. I'm gonna go through the things that I look at. Okay, if I'm looking at this camera, so the first thing I'm gonna be looking at is this area right in here. Okay, if you have paint wear right in here, that's a sign that it's probably been well used. Also, this is your main dial. You use this dial for everything. Okay. And then you're looking for dust, a lot of dust. You can see some dust in here. That's not a good thing. That's not something that you want to overlook. I mean, if it's super dusty, you want to consider that in the price, because there's a good chance that this body was laying around without that cap on, and so dust gets in there, and it's going to show up not on your pictures, but as you're looking through the viewfinder, you're going to see a lot of dust and grime build up on there. Okay. Your top, also this is your top screen. You always want to check this top screen, make sure that there's no cracks or there's no hazing. Also, your buttons are also very clearly marked. If they are worn out right here, you know that this is a well-used camera. Also, you can get a lot of wear on these buttons too, and those are all signs that the camera is well used. Also, your hot shoe is your other point. Okay. So hot shoes will start getting a lot of scratches along the edges. That means that there were a lot of times they were using, more than likely was used by a professional, because they had a flash in there all the time, or used it quite a bit. But you can see there's no scratches on this. So this is probably just a little bit of dirt and grime. It's just dirty. This camera actually looks pretty good. It's just really dirty. My biggest concern with this one would probably be the fact that the front cap is not on it. Also, one of the things that I always look for too is whether or not it has this eyepiece. Now, the reason why is not that it's going to affect the actual production. I mean, not the actual function of the camera, but the fact that whoever owned this and lost that and didn't replace it, that's a telltale sign that the person is not somebody that's going to be taking care of their gear. Because for me personally, if I if I lose one of those, I am immediately on B&H or whoever it is I decide to use that day. I'm ordering a new one, and I'm gonna have that in less than a week, because that drives me crazy. That drives me up the wall, because I really care about my cameras. Okay. And also you got your back screen too. Now you can have a crack in this screen. They're very easy to fix, but you want to make sure that it's lit up. So you can see in this picture or any of the other pictures, they don't actually have it lit up. And so that would be another sign of a picture missing, because without the fact that you have a screen that you can actually look at and make sure that screen is okay, then it's a problem. So that would be one of the reasons I don't buy it. This is another little, I don't know what that is. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like it actually got cracked or damaged and they tried to glue it back on somehow. That's not a good sign either. Yeah, this camera would not be something I would pick up for two reasons. Right here, because I don't know what this is. I don't know if it had a big old crack and they tried to glue it back on. The second one is it's missing the eye cup. And the third reason I would not buy this camera is because this screen is never turned on. Okay, you got to make sure that screen is good. Now, if that screen was on and it had this plastic back here had a huge crack in it, you can replace that. You can replace it yourself. Okay. So those are some of that, and also one more reason right here. There's no body cap on it. Whenever they put pictures up without a camera without a body cap on it, that's also a red flag, guys. You don't want to buy a camera that doesn't have a body cap on it, because dust gets in there. You can see it. You can see all that dust going on. You don't know how long was it open like that? That's the question. So that would be a huge no. So let's look at just one more, and we'll call this a video. So I talked about it in the other video where I said there's some cameras that you can go through and look. So here's a camera in the box, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Somebody bought this for themselves. Somebody bought it as a gift for somebody else, maybe. They bought it. They took it out maybe 1 or 2 times and said, my gosh, this is overwhelming. And yeah, so they put it up for bid, $87. $87 or buy it now. So this camera probably, I don't know the price when it came out. I want to say it was probably $499.99. So $350 for once open box is actually an okay deal. While if nobody bids on this, which is also a possibility, if you could get this for $100, it's a good camera. It's gonna work. It's gonna make you some money. And here's the 50D. This is another camera that's got a big place in my heart, because this is the last magnesium alloy bodies before they went to the all plasticky fantastic-ies. See, the thing about these old cameras, starting with the 50D, the 60D, because it's all plastic, I think the plastic companies before that time, they all had this little white, I don't know what that is. It's like a glue that I guess it kind of comes through, and it just gives it an ugly look to it. I don't like that look. Not to say that there's nothing wrong with the camera, because there's probably nothing wrong with the camera, but it just looks bad. You see how it's got all this residue, the plastic? I guess with time, it just kind of gets all icky. Yeah, outside of that, this would be a good camera, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed making this video. I hope you've enjoyed. So I hope you've been enjoying this video, guys. I just wanted to share a couple of tips, things that I keep an eye out for when I'm trying to buy a camera on eBay. Maybe you can use my advice and kind of get you a camera. If you do, I'll let you know. If that 20D I put some money on, if I win that, hell, we'll make a video out of it. Maybe I'll go shoot a wedding with it, so you can see that I'm not kidding when I tell you that you can actually shoot a camera to make some money in 2024 with a $100 camera. Let's see how that goes. But till next time, guys, you take care. My name is Alfonso Chavez, and you've been watching the Camera 64 podcast. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. And if you don't mind subscribing, it's somewhere along the bottom. I'm not exactly sure where it's at. But if you would subscribe to my channel, we would greatly appreciate it. So till next time, guys, you take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.